Well, I know better than to do that again. I'll go ahead and just remove that. Trying to mess with you guys' comments. I done X'd out my own intro music. It's all right. I ain't never been accused of being brilliant. Thank you, Jahar Lee. I didn't even have to ask for a sound check. I appreciate that. Thank you. Perfect. Hello, Nancy Puffins. Hey, Perceiver, I got your email. Just been super busy with personal stuff after all that travel. Pretty much got it all done now. Answering emails now. 626 people in the chat. I'm going to give y'all a tour. My studio is not big, although I spent all day today at my other studio going through books. I got a lot of really interesting books, and I brought some of them here, and I took some of these over there because it's just too much. I'm going to do a certain series of videos in my other studio. It's all set up. I finished setting it up today. It's the smaller studio where you guys really got to know me. This bigger studio is all 1800s and 1700s, except for this shelf here, which are very important videos. So I'm going to give you a little tour before we start this little expose on this shit show. This shit show that is what's going on worldwide in the last 3 years, which they planned for about 15 to 17 years. It's a shit show. And it's really embarrassing that there's still a lot of people falling for it. Guys, check out my library. So I got a lot. There's a lot up there. There's a lot of material here, guys, that it's going to take a while to get to. Don't try to take it all in at once. It's a lot. There's some really interesting titles in there. This lighting, I may have too much lighting on in here. Camera's not used to that. But I got some gigantic books down there. I'll get to those. There's my little elephant there. My little elephant lamp. A lot of antiques in here too. Well, hell, all the books are antiques. If that's the case, there's 700 antiques in here. But yeah, got my tinfoil hat at the top. You know I can't go home without that. I got several volumes of encyclopedias, some from the 1890s, some from 1902, 1910. Gigantic old family Bibles. Got some huge books. Some of these books are gigantic. You know, my hands are big. I'm not a little dude. That's a giant book right there. So is that Webster's Dictionary. It's huge. Huge. But a lot of these reference books, a lot of them are just really old, really interesting books. I can't take my camera too far. It won't let me. I got some gigantic books. This book here is huge. See if I can't get y'all see that better. All right. Why would it be showing that upside down to you guys? Why would that be? There it is. So the camera writes itself. I didn't know that. Man, some of the pictures in here, the ink work is amazing. You just can't really see that detail on this camera right now because of the lighting. This ink work is astonishing. But all you got to do is watch more Archaix videos because John has spent months and months and months photographing all the pictures in all these books. I literally have a thumb drive full of thousands and thousands of photos of all these books. Here's something I want to show you. All right. These are current projects. These are all videos in the making right here on all different types of topics. Some of them are rather fascinating. But this right here, you guys got all this coming. These are some amazing. There's Ignatius Donnelly in here. Here's the book I was telling you I couldn't find. Here it is right here, Sea Stand and Land Wake. All these are Arabic and ancient Egyptian traditions, Coptic on the Great Pyramid, showing you that it was a monument. It was known. It was built by Enoch. It was known to be built before the flood, and it was specifically known. It's an old book, too. old book from the 1800s. Cites amazing sources. But yeah, it's one of my sources in Law Scriptures of Giza. But old chronology books. We got some pretty good stuff in here. Here's the second one. My William Cordis library is getting huge. Those are all William Cordis books. We got a lot more videos coming out about anomalies, strange artifacts. Here's a handbook of puzzling artifacts. We can do 10 videos out of that book. Yeah, we got some good ones. This guy's dead. Some people think he was killed. The Phoenix Solution, Secrets of a Lost Civilization. I've got pictures of him and my publisher kicking it. They were friends till they offed him. But yeah, it's really good stuff. There's my hat collection down there. But here's the juicy stuff. There it is. That's the juicy right there. All those books, every single one of those books is a video. Every one of those books is a video. I can't get any closer, guys. My cord's not that long on the camera. Every one of those is a video. You can screenshot that and blow up those titles. Camera's resolution's good enough for that. All those are videos. And then back here, I got all these cabinets. They're all full of books. I got all my studio equipment in here. Just different stuff I need for different stuff. Whatever I need. This whole box right here is books from the 1700s. But except the only ones missing from this box are the ones that you just saw on the shelf, because I'm doing videos out of those. This is from 1892. This is a 3-book series on the history of Great Britain. Just I got a bunch of stuff, but I mean, I don't even have room. Down here, it'll be a long time till I get to these. Here's a guy who walked through China in the 1800s, everything he saw. Look how beautiful this book is. Mysteries of the Kabbalah. Yeah, these are a bunch of old books. These are a bunch of video books here. These are video books here. There's Gerald Massey right there. I tell you all, the light of the world, ancient Egypt. Tell you about that all the time. Lots of good stuff in here. There's Ibn Battuta, the Arab Adventurer, Balthazar Gratian. A lot of good videos in here. Yeah, the historical Jesus and mythical Christ. That's a Gerald Massey as well. Man, we got some. I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of here. I gotta stop that. Anyway, that's my tour. Put this camera back. Just whet your appetite a little bit. All right. Everybody loves Balthazar Gratian. Book boner alert. That's face diaper. You know good. John Adams. If you're in the chat, I hope so. But if not, I know you're going to listen to this video eventually. But John Adams, deeply appreciate those Ranger stars you sent me. That was amazing. I got them. They're framed. They're in the other studio. You can see them clear as day when the camera gets turned on. But Mr. Adams sent me some pretty interesting stuff. And among that, and I don't know why he came off of it, but Texas Ranger stars and sheriffs and like state trooper stars, antique. Some of them go back, and they're all in a glass case. And it was sent to me. I was looking at that. I was like, wow, that is amazing. Some of them are old, but it's I appreciate that, man. I really do. I've got some new Phoenix stamps. I got some people have been sending me Phoenix stamps and like that 3-book series from Britain. I got that today. Somebody sent me a amazing knife. Knife is like it's $1,000. I mean, it's come in a velvet box. It's amazing. But yeah, I'll show off gifts some other time. But that's not what this is about. It's not what this is about. But I do appreciate the gifts. I do appreciate the community, guys. I give you all I got, and I hope it's enough, because you guys know I live by a tenet, and that tenet is I want to provide you something every 48 hours. Every 48 hours, you're going to get a drop from Archaix, and that's I've pretty much maintained that from the beginning of my channel. I might not release things every day. I don't even feel compelled to. But every other day, it's going to be an upload. It's going to be a rehash of very old videos nobody's watching no more, or old podcasts everybody's forgotten about, or were only shown on other people's channels, and I went and grabbed them. It's going to be a live video, or it's going to be some type of badass presentation. You know, with a PDF download. Hey, J Hart. Yes, you did. You sent me a slingshot. I thought it was wood, but it wasn't. That was pretty clever. You sent me a slingshot made of rubber. Looked just like wood. So, yeah, there's no sense in not putting out material every 48 hours when I got so much of it. I mean, I literally have more than I will be able to do. So, yeah. So, appreciate the donation of the shit show hat. And I know the guy who donated that is probably wearing his hat right now while he's listening to me talk. He's probably in there. You can go ahead and introduce yourself if you're in the chat. But yeah, it is a shit show. It's a shit show, but it's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing that people are still falling for this political paradigm, that people are still believing that there are sides to pick from, and that picking a side is necessary. Man, it's so obvious how many people are not overriding their programming. I'm sorry, guys. There's many of you in my chat that think this world is worth saving. I don't believe so. I don't even believe we're here to save it at all. That's not why we're here, and that's why we don't vibrate on the same frequency as the collective. It's why we're not vibrating on the same frequency as the media. It's why when we hear these news reports coming from different parts of the world, we're not resonating with that shit. We're not resonating with it because we know either it's not right or it's a lie. Every single thing that comes out of the mouth of the media has been shown to be a lie. The revelations have been out for the last 20 years. People have come into contact with enough information to know that media, through radio broadcasts, through television broadcasts, news shows, even alt media now, it's ridiculous that people still believe what's being reported. It's crazy, guys. Just so crazy. Just so crazy. It's just like that. It's just like that invasion, land grab crap that went on over there in the Middle East, and at the same time that one army is attacking nothing but civilians because the civilians don't have an army. They don't have anything. They don't have no APCs. They don't have any jeeps. They don't have any tanks. They don't have any type of fortifications. They don't have anything. And yet the media is putting out that there's a war. That's not a war. It's the same thing they said about the Civil War. The war of northern aggression was not a war. Do your homework, guys. Those battles were fictitious. They're lying. No, the war of northern aggression was a genocide campaign. The North invaded the South. The South never had a chance. As it was being written later, all of a sudden, it was a war. And these great battles were all invented, and they wrote all this shit, and they staged great battles year after year, and it's all bullshit. Every bit of it's bullshit. It was a massive land grab. Happens all the time. And the victors always write the narrative. So that's what's taught in public school. That's why you listening to my voice right now, or at least many of you, still believe that the Germans declared war against the Jews in Germany. Still believe that bullshit. It's just crazy, guys. I can take you to an article in 1932 in the New York Times, and I can show you the front page of that article. It'd blow your mind what you read. It wasn't Germany declaring war on anybody. Yeah, man. Riyadh Ali, that's right. I got a video. Loki laughed at me. I'm really surprised that video hasn't gotten a lot more traction. That video is a deep philosophical thinker. Yeah, man. Me driving down the road. Yeah, man. Loki laughed at me. Thank you for mentioning that. I hope some people go back and watch that. Or actually, there's not a lot to watch with the road. You're actually listening. Yeah, man. All right, we got over 1,000 people in the chat. This is a Q&A. This ain't me running my mouth unless you ask the right question. But this is a Q&A. I haven't done one in a while. I've been so busy. I've been trying to do a bunch of data dumps. Whole bunch of data dumps on you guys. And I kind of got out of my element because I normally kept a good ratio between data dumps, just mediocre presentations about some interesting stuff, but not really Archaix related, and live videos and podcast and Q&As. And I kind of fell short on the Q&As in the past 2 months. But a lot of that had to do with the meetups and the traveling and the negotiating, all kinds of things. One of the guys that joined me at my meetup in San Diego was Logan of Decode Your Reality. Logan and I believe it's on the 16th, but Logan and I will be doing a roundtable with Waters Above Crypto. And the three of us, the last time the three of us did a video, it was pretty damn popular. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have a repeat. Pretty sure we're going to have a repeat. Yeah, so before any of you go to asking me about Trump and all that, I'm just going to tell you now, a lot of us fell for that Patriot stuff because he was saying all the right catchphrases. A lot of us fell for that in the beginning, I ain't gonna lie, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and even 3 years ago, I'm still leaning toward Trump, man. Like, man. And then I really started paying attention to the details. And it was paying attention to the things that were not said, that were not addressed, paying attention to the things that were not done, that had me looking a little deeper. I started listening to more people. Some of them were on my own channel, were educating me and sending me emails and telling me, hey man, look at this and look at that. It says you got a pretty good head on your shoulders. You just haven't been looking in the right places. Check this out. And I did, and I couldn't believe all the connections Trump had to the very people that are running this world, running Hollywood, running the entertainment industry, running the world banks. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. This man is just like that dude who played the Mad Hatter in the 2012 Olympics. What's his name? The dude with the British accent who's supposed to be a true ultimate truther, but he's actually specifically trained to lead a whole bunch of truthers astray. What's the dude's name? Man, he was playing the Pied Piper of Hamelin while dressed as the Mad Hatter, leading a bus of troopers astray in the 2012 Olympic ceremony. I can't remember the dude's name now. It's not really important. To Russell Brand. That's right. Thank you, Shiva Shampoo. Lunar Piscean. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Russell Brand. Man, look how easy it is. Russell Brand has millions of people listening to him. They don't even know. This dude was specifically raised and trained to deceive. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So, it's just amazing, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. So there's all kinds of things going on in the Archaix universe. Here's one interesting development. I'm going to tell you about this trademark stuff. So one interesting development is I've been talking with some people a few months back, and we already know that the name Archaix is already shadow banned across multiple platforms. Many of you have left comments mentioning the word Archaix in some of your comments, and the comments are instantly deleted. Many of you have told me that. We've even tested it, and we find, wow, man, a lot of these platforms like Facebook and all, Facebook's terrible. When it comes to Archaix stuff, Facebook doesn't even let 80% of the people wanting to comment on a Facebook post in the Archaix group, their comments do not appear. It has nothing to do with us. Facebook is doing that. And Facebook is sending notifications to people saying that we detect that you're trying to get an unnecessary or trying to be deceitful in the amount of likes and hearts that you give and comments you give in support of a group. It's ridiculous. But this is how an intelligence agency operates. That's all Facebook is. So anyway, yeah, guys, it's real. So we came up with a genius idea. And I can't tell it to you right now because we're still waiting for the trademark paperwork to come in. We've already paid for it. We're just waiting for the attorneys. We've done everything we can. But there's going to be a change of brand, and you're really going to like it. It's a change of brand. We're moving forward. I'm going to keep Archaix. As a matter of fact, that's a whole different story there. Yeah, guys, there's a Jason and Katie Taylor out there somewhere. If any of you guys know who they are, let me know. But there's a Jason and Katie Taylor who tried to do something slick, and they tried to trademark the name Archaix. Now, this is an old scam. All they really want to do is there's nothing they can do with it because they can't provide my content. But what they could do, if they were successful, was serve me with paperwork giving me a cease and desist using Archaix in anything that I do, my website and my social media and all that, and then turn around and blackmail me into buying the trademark from them, paying them monthly for whatever their exorbitant fee is. Well, you guys already know, Jason Brashears ain't paying anybody shit. Yeah, I'm a warrior. I do not go down easy. I am not trying. I do not play ball. Yeah, I do not even live by the rules. I spent 26 years in prison for a reason. I do not play by the rules, and I don't give an F about what they're trying to do. But we already determined that it's necessary to do a slight change and move over because Archaix is shadow banned everywhere, and we're not going to get away from that. We're not going to get away from that at all. So January 1st, you guys are going to experience the Archaix reset, and you guys are going to like it. I promise. I can't tell you more than that because we're waiting for paperwork to come in. But yeah, guys, I am just the opposite of what people expect me to be. My genius and tenacity comes out when I'm under pressure. Yeah, it's just the opposite. I'm not going to stress out and get moan and bemoan anything. Hell no. I'm going to get creative. I'm going to rely. I'm going to listen to spirit. I always listen to spirit. I'm going to listen to spirit, and I'm just going to set ego aside, and the answers will always come to me, and they're always genius. Like, wow, that's exactly how I'm going to deal with this. And then I execute it, start putting it in motion, and everything just falls into play. When things fall into play super easy when you're trying to execute a design, it shows you spirit is moving with you. It's when things are blocking you, hurdles, and you got to go through extraneous amounts of energy to go around obstacles, and you still think you're on the right path. You're not. Those obstacles are there to tell you something's wrong with the direction you're going. So I'm always listening to these little things. And lately, spirit has just been with me. It's been moving. It's been moving. It's been removing obstacles. It's exposing all these charlatans. Oh, yeah, Archaix has been attacked from multiple fronts. Many big names have networked. Expect some attacks from the Gaia crowd pretty soon. I'm waiting too. I'm waiting to call all of them out. All of them out. And I want to be by myself when I do it. I'll tell you guys, listen, I thrive on this. I thrive on it because spirit is moving with me, and these charlatans out there making millions, selling a bunch of lies. Listen, it's easy to disprove almost anything promoted on the Gaia network is so easy to disprove. And this is why you haven't heard a single person promoting anything for Gaia or the Gaia network that's even attempted to call me out. Not even a peep. Yeah, they're all waiting right now. After I did Billy Carson's book, they're all waiting. Who's next? I'm gonna keep them waiting for a little while. Then I'm gonna scar someone else up. Because guys, there's no backup in me. I have to keep moving forward. I'm the little guy here. I'm the little guy everybody wants to act like doesn't exist. So I'm going to make sure people understand that I'm going to exist, and I'm going to exist in this environment. I'm going to make my way. I'm going to carve out a kingdom, and that kingdom is going to be known for providing the truth. Simple as that. People can wax philosophical all day long and say, "Oh, what is truth?" and all that. You know what? I'm not trying to hear all that. We are all invested with a modicum of intellect that allows us to know right and wrong. You know right when you hear it, and you know wrong. You know bullshit when you hear it. Yeah, this things are just so weird. It's so weird in the truther community right now. And I've really put my distance from a lot of people because I just realized, you know what? Listen, if you're not going to match, if you can't match my energy, I understand. But if you can't also help out, then you're a hindrance. And I remove hindrances. I'm not going to have any obstacles in my way. And I'm not, and it's so easy for me to do because it's not me doing the work. This is what I tell you guys on my channel all the time. I don't have to wage the war. All I have to do is follow spirit. All I have to do is recognize machinations and stratagems and then let spirit deal with it. I'm going to follow through. I'm going to follow through because I, by myself as an immortal being, am incapable I'm incapable as a lone soldier moving through this chessboard with so many ancient pieces that have all this power accrued in them. I'm unable to do it. But when I tap into spirit, the construct has to obey. And this is what I tell you guys a lot all the time. You have no idea what you have. I tell you, when you have the power to draw from yourself more than you contain, there's nothing in the construct that can oppose you. So what does it do? It ignores you. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you guys. There is nothing to fear anywhere. There's no concepts to fear. There's no organizations to fear, political parties, armies. There's nothing to fear. They're all different aspects of the construct. When you regard yourself as independent of your body, that's how you gain power over the construct. But when you begin to fear the construct, you fear your own avatar and its relationship with the construct. Remember, this is borrowed. It's not yours. This belongs to the construct. It's an avatar. You are what dwells within it. That's where the true power resides. And your connection is to source. But when you fear and when you doubt, that connection is weakened and the construct prevails. So let's get this Q&A on the road. And don't ask me about Trump. Trump, to me, would be a traitor. Simple as that. Just like Juan O'Savin would be a traitor. Patriot Pacification Program. You can name them in the chat. Name every so-called truther who was pushing the Q movement, who was pushing all the Trump's going to save us, Trump's going to do this, U.S. military is going to do this. Why? Name them all. Because I know who Trump's daughter married, and I know who Trump's family's married into. Yeah, that right there is a deal killer. That right there tells me across the board who Trump's working for. See, it's done. There is no more guesswork at all. It's done. So, rhetoric, a man can say a lot of things, and he can be persuasive, and the collective can get behind him. Yeah, my heart hurts for like David Nino Rodriguez. My heart hurts for him. He's so far invested in that now, talking to those guys. He don't even talk to me anymore. He don't send me emails. He don't want to chat with me no more. And I get it, but I still consider him a friend. I just believe that he's been deceived into that bullshit. Because I know Juan O'Savin can't stand me. I've talked about him many times. And everybody connected to that. Charlie Ward, Simon Parks. They're not the only ones. All of them. There's females in there too. All of them are part of that Patriot Pacification Program that were all preaching everything's going to be okay. They were all telling you the bullshit narratives about children being rescued in the underworld, military is exploding. All that shit was bullshit. Yeah, I'm calling them all. Michael Jaco was a part of that too. True. He was a part of that too. With his astral projecting ass, when all this stuff he talks about, this all woo-woo stuff he talks about he does, ex-CIA. That's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard, because once you're CIA for life. I'm not trying to hear that. So he ain't the only one. There's a bunch of them preaching that patriot stuff. And what happened? Oh, well, shit. Patriotism kind of died down. Nothing's really going on. You know what? Let's get on this crypto. Let's go and promote all this crypto. When crypto's not really happening, what do? Oh man, they're all on this spiritual movement. They're all trying to do this. They're all trying to come up on Archaix and send me emails. And I've been telling them no. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, your ass ain't coming on my channel, and I'm sure not going to be seen on theirs. And I'm not going February to an event with 15,000 people, because I wouldn't let any one person in this world see me in the same convention side by side with some of these traitors. I wouldn't. Not me. Hell no. I love the United States of America. I'm an absolute patriot. But you know what? I'm also a spiritualist, and I realize that the United States of America is a captured operation. I understand that. And I understand that one of the fundamental tenets of proving to the public that it's not a captured operation is to have a dummy parliament in play, to have a dummy administration, to have some buffoons in play that can do it. Because I'm going to tell you now, Biden isn't the president of the United States of America. Biden is the servant to the same people that Trump serves. 100%. Yeah. Trump is actually pretty, he got off because by the January 6th event and all that, and him losing the election, well, whatever happened, and him being removed from that, that actually gave the deep state all the opportunity they need to, because now they had a dummy government set up. That's why it was fenced. Washington was fenced. The dummy government was this buffoon Biden and this secondary female buffoon Kamala Harris. This two-headed buffoon was supposedly running the country, but it was under this dummy government, which really doesn't exist, is when they gave away $4.6 billion in military hardware to Afghanistan. You understand? They needed to do that. It's under that administration when they got into it over the Ukraine deal and lost all their chemical labs to Putin. It's under that administration that they actually stopped Russia's ability to move raw crude oil from Russia across through a pipeline across the Black Sea to Europe, to the European markets. The United States secured that market now, but Russia had it. A lot of things needed to be done that would have made Trump look real bad if it was done under his administration. Other things were like what Nancy Pelosi was assigned to do. Nancy Pelosi is absolutely un-American. She's deep state. Her whole job, the whole 40-something years she was in power, was to fleece the American people, to fund all the deep state operations. And this is what she did through multiple different stimulus packages. She's the orchestrator of all that shit, of funneling tremendous amounts of money away from the United States to all the deep state operations, what they need to do. If you believe there's good guys out there anymore, you're not even a part of the conversation. Yeah. All this stuff on Facebook and all over the internet. Hey, vote. It's time to vote again. It's time to vote again. They may as well send a sticker in the mail to you saying you're a dumbass. May as well send it to you. If you believe any side is going to do what you want them to do. Yeah, it's crazy. It's gone so far, guys. But that too is a part of the plan. That's how genius this whole last days programming is. Even the lack of faith in our own governments, our own municipalities, our own institutions, our own culture, in each other, even the lack of faith and trust in each other is all a part of the Communist Manifesto. Every bit of that was written in 1849 all the way to 1890. It was all mapped out how you break the Western world. You get them to believe nothing is true. You attack their histories with weird-ass theories about missing 1,000 years, new concepts about the world that can be proven or can't be proven. It doesn't even matter. Put out enough smoke trails and paradigms to where people just get tired because they cannot separate fact from fiction. Let criminals like the FTX dude, who sat there and literally bankrupted thousands of people, stole their wealth, gave it to Democrats. All of it was traceable. Gave it to Democrats, and then he himself gets locked up in jail for the FTX scandal, and then he gets to walk in front of the whole world. That's all by design. It's not because he's powerful. It's because they need you to completely lose faith in all your institutions. They need you, the public, to pretty much come to the conclusion that there is no more law and order, and that the elite can do what they want, and you're not one of the elite, so you will always be a victim. They want this. This is what they're trying to do. It is necessary to bring down the pillars of society in order to raise a false one. It's all necessary. This is all preparatory to a new ruler who's going to be believed hook, line, and sinker by the whole world almost. When this guy shows up, he's going to be a male. It's going to be a male. When he shows up, the whole world is going to believe his claims. Yeah, guys, this is what it's all leading up to right now. All this chaos. And we're not done. We're about to enter a chaotic period. The second seal it hasn't unfolded yet, but we're on our way. We already know the elite are operating by the Greek Olympiad calendar. It is a 4 year, every 4 years, This is what the whole Greek Olympiad calendar measured by 4-year periods. This is what we already found in the isometrics as well, unfolding in 2020 with the Apollo, the servants of Apollo, who we have invested trust in and who wear white coats and are supposed to be guardians of the public health, ended up being our attackers. And they were wearing the garb of Apollo. This is what they did. Thank you. You can have that one back. It's like cold. Man. Look at those tires right there. You know I'm hillbilly. You know I'm country, Central East Texas country as hell. I got a coffee mug of 4 tractor tires. Damn. I really appreciate you truckers out there, because you send me emails when you can from your phone at rest stops and all that. I'm gonna let the rest of you know. You guys know I did one video, a truckers tribute, but I got a lot of truckers that listen to me. A lot. And it's a lot of the truckers and the guys that work in metal fab and prefab and oil and gas, manufacturing. A lot of the people that listen to me, these are the guys that really like my long form videos. And they're always asking me to do these 4, 5, and 6 hour long videos. It's why I do that for them. Now, I know a lot of you others listen to them, but I do that for them because I used to be one. Guys, I was in oil and gas. I used to work manufacturing logistics in prison for a while. When I got out, I was at the Vulcan facility in Tomball, Texas, oil and gas. I was an oil and gas machinist. I was also a pipe fitter and a longitudinal fin machinist. But at the Splendora Pipe Services facility in Splendora, Texas, I did something else. I was operating the most sophisticated equipment they had. I was the CNC pipe threader operator. I put the threads on the pipe, and that stuff has to be done to the thousandth of an inch. It has to be right. We have to measure every 10 pipes with a micrometer, because every pipe is under such immense pressure that it's got to fit perfectly into its cup link, and that cup link has to fit perfectly into the next pipe, and that goes on for miles and miles, and they've got to fit perfectly because the pressure is so much that if the threads are off a little bit, that cup link will blow out. So that's what I used to do. So I have a deep appreciation for my heavy equipment operators. I have a deep appreciation for those guys in oil and gas out there. I started in the pipe yard. I was a grease monkey. I was greasing and capping, and I was in my 40s when I got out of prison. I was doing that, hanging with all the 20-year-olds. Yeah, and I moved my way up through the facility when they realized my intellect, and they realized, well, we can use this guy. And I went from machine to machine to machine all the way to the top, to the CNC pipe threader. And I stayed there for a while until I got a better opportunity doing the longitudinal fin machine, the only one that was the only machine like that in the entire Vulcan facility. It welds fins onto slip pipes for the fracking pipes. To give you a good example, the pipes were small that I welded fins on, but those fins come off the pipe to where it's like a pipe with a bunch of blades that is slipped into a big pipe, and when it's dropped into the ground, couplings dropped into the ground with the tractor, when it gets to the natural gas, the gases come up so hot it'll melt the pipes. So the superheated gases come up through the middle pipe, but the fins have coolant poured down them, so to keep that cool right there. Yeah, guys, there's a lot that goes into all that technology, but it's back-breaking work. It's good pay, but that's what I did when I got out of prison, and I'm going to continue to do long-form videos so those guys, man, in manufacturing and oil and gas and truckers can have some good stuff to listen to for long periods of time. Because you got to use your hands a lot. You don't have time to mess with a headset. Yeah, Rob Max, those are heat sinks. All right, so running my mouth again. I'm running my mouth. I seen Monica Farrow. Monica, you need to send me an email. You know why? Time is coming. The time is coming. All right. So what I need to do, I accidentally touched that. I'm gonna go back a little bit and look for some questions. I think I'm done ranting about politics, unless somebody asks me something. Yeah, Trump and Hillary are cousins. I bet too. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's all shit show. It's a shit show. So I'm not with. Oh, so some of you guys preach forgiveness, and I get that. I get that because I believe in that as well. I believe people should have second chances, even third chances, even fourth chances. It all depends on what the situations are. It all depends on how much time. Not everybody's built the same way, but some things are beyond forgiveness. I don't mean they're unforgivable. I mean it takes a little common sense. Are you going to fall for the same shit again? Such as we have a whole list. There's about 12 or 13 of them that are still popular on different platforms, still talking that shit. Oh, that were a part of the Patriot Pacification Program, all about Trump and the U.S. military going to help take over. Don't worry about it. Sit tight. Everything's cool. The Q drops were mysterious enough to keep the Patriots chewing on stuff, but it's all just U.S. intel. It's all U.S. intel shit, and it's designed in a way to make you believe that it is U.S. intel, but they're the good guys. And they're telling you in advance all these things that are happening. It is so genius. But that's what it is. It's basically co-intel. So what we have here is we have this list of people. You can name them. I don't care. You can do all these people. Man, I've already named a few, but they're still out there, still coming up with truther messages. I mean, now it's all about law of attraction or whatever their latest little gimmick is. They're still out there. And they're still putting these networks together, still doing. Why is anybody listening to them anymore? How did that happen? So I did mention David Nino Rodriguez. Okay, I consider him a friend. He probably hates my guts now because I'm very vocal about 107 and all these deceivers. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. But what I fear is that a lot of people who are still buying into that bullshit, a lot of people are going to find themselves with their backs against the wall, now supporting a movement that emerges out of that desperation when they realize things aren't going the way we wanted and the way we predicted and the way we were told and the Q drops. None of that's happening. However, I'm a Christian. So I see this developing over here, and I'm gonna get on board with that. And then I'm gonna claim, and now they're gonna start claiming these events are justification. That's what we knew we were heading toward this all along. Guys, many of you have made the mistake of thinking that I've been saying Christian right as if it is an opposite of left. That is not what's been coming out of my mouth. I have been warning you for 3 years about the rise of the Christian Reich, not right. Big difference. Christian Reich. The Christian Reich is going to be unlike anything that we have in living memory. I'm telling you guys, it will get dark. People will justify all kinds of hideous acts because they think they are allied to God. They are on God's side. They will quote Bible verses, all these old Bible verses that have been sitting there that people just kind of overlook. Oh, they'll be brought back to the table where incidents after incidents after incidents, the holy chosen people of God went in there and dashed babies' heads on stones. Yeah, it's in the Old Testament. I don't need to make that up. I got it in my Dark Scriptures playlist. I cite the verses. Yeah, Moses commanded his people because Yahweh commanded him to go in there and kill every man, woman, and child in some cities, go into other cities and kill every man, woman, child, and every livestock animal. See that nothing liveth. Yeah. Other places in the Old Testament, they're told to kill every single man, put every man 12 years old and older to the sword. Keep the 11-year-olds and under, and keep all the women and the daughters and sell them off as slaves. Yeah, guys, read your Bibles. This is the people of God. This is the people over there who are declaring war against someone who doesn't even have an army. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I gotta go down here to the chat because I've been running my mouth. Yeah, HWMO Liberty, I get that. You say Nino doesn't buy into everything that's said. I can agree with that. But he buys into a lot of it, or he wouldn't have them continuously on his channel, always talking, all these different yeah, man. It's just whatever events are happening in the world, they just change their narrative to go into that way. Well, this had to happen because of this. This had to happen. It gets comical after a while. It's like, wow. I look in the chat, it's like, they're really buying this shit. It's crazy. And then you can't call them out on it because they get offended. They're talking about, oh, you're not a patriot. Oh, you're not a Christian. You're not. Yeah, so I just stay quiet. Archaix has haunted many chat feeds and never made a comment. I'm just looking at the temperament of the people because I'm seeing more and more and more that people just want to be deceived. They just want to be deceived. With zero evidence whatsoever, people just want to believe that Atlantis was 13,000 years ago, despite all the historical evidence. Yeah, despite any evidence whatsoever, people just really want to believe that the Mayan long count really did end in 2012 and that we went through a spiritual paradigm shift. Oh yeah, because this star was lined up with this star in 2012 when the Mayan long count changed. We went through a great shift, and that's why a whole bunch of us now, Arcturians and Pleiadians, we now have this second sight, and we've been able to do all. And we got all these YouTube channels, and we're telling people everything that happened, and not a fucking thing happened. Nothing happened. But people will always build a narrative around a belief when they have fallen for that belief and the expected narrative didn't happen. They're gonna make up a reason why. They're gonna make it, instead of just saying, "Hey man, fucking wrong." No, you're just wrong, man. Simple as that. Just like me, so far, Biden's still president, right? So I'm wrong. Out of 157 predictions, I got a whole bunch right, but I still get beat up all the time. Biden's still president. I got trolls all the time. Biden's still president, but you don't want to go through this whole list and see how 3 years ago when these predictions were made, the world was a very different place. Yeah, the leftists were in control of everything. Yeah, anybody on the right, this was before Twitter was even taken over, before CNN fell, before all these liberal hosts took a fall, before all these actors were exposed for anything. Yeah, Jason was going the total opposite way. Nobody wants to remember that. They just want to say Biden's not president. I mean, Biden's still president. So I don't know, man. You know what? I don't mind. I don't mind because I don't need to be right about everything. I don't. I just don't. I don't even care. But I'm right about enough to where I'm paying attention to what's going on. A lot of you think that the prediction about Israel being at war was only a year ago. That's not true. The video is 2.5 years old. All I did a year ago was do a recap. And in that video, I did a recap and mentioned Israel will be at war by the end of 2023. That's a recap. The actual prediction was 2.5 years ago in a totally different video. And it was done looking at the entire thing holographically. Isometric projection, show the template about what's going on. So, yeah, it's fucking interesting. There's no doubt. But we're not going to be right about everything. And if I was right about everything, then something would be wrong. That's not how life works. There's always going to be an element of mystery. Always. I haven't read The Law of One, Holly Lingill, but you already know how I feel about channeling. Yeah, I mean, channeling, astral projection. All right, cool. Let's put them to the test. Look, I don't want to hear. I mean, when it comes to my predictions, I'll lay them out there. When it comes to my chronometry, I show you the charts and invite you to use a calculator to check my math. Listen, when I tell you something has happened in history, when I can, I'm always showing you the source materials. So if you're going to ask me about astral projection, if you're going to ask me about what was this other thing you just said, I already lost it. But yeah, channeling. You're gonna ask me about channeling and astral projection. Uh, you need to find me somebody who's willing to put up or shut up, because that's what this world. That's the only thing that's acceptable now. This is nut cutting time. We don't have time to entertain all this adult fantasy, all this Galactic Federation BS these people fall for. You ought to be embarrassed. You ought to be embarrassed to even admit that you even fell for that crap. Yeah, Galactic Federation ship's going to come save us. Trump's going to give the signal. It's all BS. None of it can be verified. It's adult fantasy. Now, when it comes to astral projection, I'm cool with it. I'm on board. My own dad told me he did it in Vietnam War. I don't know if he did or not. That's what he said. He believes he did. But if it's true, if astral projection is real, then it must be performed by someone. If it's something that is real, then there's going to be someone in this world who can do it. They need to come on my channel and prove that then, because I have a method to prove if you can astral project or not. Because if you can't do what I ask you to do, you're full of shit. It's as simple as that. It's super simple test. Just like the channeling. If you're channeling an entity that is not in our dimension, and I know it's not in our dimension because we can't see it. That's why you got to channel it. If you're channeling an entity and any type of intelligence that is disembodied or has a body in another dimension, and you can channel this intellect, it's real simple. I'm not going to call you a liar. I'm just going to make you look like one when I ask you questions that you cannot answer. Because if you can channel this entity, then you can sure as hell take Jason's 10 Archaix questions and ask whoever you're channeling, and then give us the answers real quick. My problem with channeling is many of the people who have channeled on YouTube that I've heard mention anachronistic material, meaning their narratives contained chronological markers that were in error. It was information that they inserted in their narrative that they thought was true that they got from somewhere else. When it comes to chronology, I'm not going to be undermined. I can be corrected, but you got to show me the math. Got to show me the math. But when it comes to chronology, that is my passion. That is my lifeblood. That is my area of expertise. And thus far, I haven't found any researchers that disagree with that, because I'm still waiting for that disagreement. But I've heard many chronological errors from people who claim to have OBEs, channeling. Some of these OBEs talk about they go back in time to different things, and the things they talk about weren't even unfolding in that time period. Yeah, dumbest thing to do if you're going to lie is throw out a date, because you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. So, yeah, I'm not saying channeling isn't true. I'm not saying astral projection isn't true. But what I'm saying is, so far, nobody's contacted Jason of Archaix and put it to the test. Nobody. We're too far into the game now to be polite. That's why I'm so aggressive in the things I give dissertations about, guys. The time to be polite was a long time ago, when we had a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time anymore. We've got 16.5 years left. And then this little international community where we can talk to each other and all that may not even last that long. Right now we have it where we can all talk and listen and share and all that, but there's going to come a time when we can't even enjoy this anymore. And when the internet is completely gone, that's when a lot of people are going to realize just how small their world really is. Really is. It's going to be a sad day for a lot of people. Yeah, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer, guys. I'm not trying to be a doomsayer. When I talk about these things like this in the negative, I'm really talking about the collective, because true spiritual beings aren't going to panic. The true, highly individualized spiritual being who is known to the oversoul, who is connected to source, is always going to prevail despite the circumstances. No matter what goes on anywhere in the world, in any place, that individual is going to thrive. And it doesn't even matter how many enemies try to come against it, because they're all a part of and driven by and empowered by the construct. And the construct itself can never override even one soul that is connected to source. Can't do it. Can't do it. So I'm running my mouth again. I still haven't taken any questions. I guess that was a question. Astral projection and a deal. Yeah, I don't want to offend you, man, by saying these things don't exist. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying so far nobody's come to me to allow me to put it to the test publicly. Because I'm not going to do it in private. We're going to make that test public. Yeah. Anybody OBE channels out there, any channeler channels, any astral projection channels, you want to come on my channel, that's cool. We're going to put it to the test. And I'm going to report to you real fast whether they pass or failed. Because if they passed, they're going to get some exclusive time on Archaix to tell their story, tell how they do it, tell us about the experience, what's going on. Hey, man, I'm going to give them free reign. I'll even shut my mouth, kick back for a whole 2 hours. Let them talk. But you got to show me. Yeah, it's too late to be polite. It's too late. Oh, let's see. T-Town, Arizona. Oh, man, somebody please. Oh, Bob, man, Bob. You got a flat earth. You got a flat earth deal, man. It's awesome. You got a little flat earth sigil. That's badass. And then you ask a question, who's on Jason's shirt? With some, man, here, hold on. I'm going to put you on blast. Somebody please answer that, man. Somebody please answer that, man. This is a hero. All right. I'll give you a clue. Starts with an MC. Yeah, the silver cord face diaper is real popular. I've read a lot about it. People go through trauma, or it could have been anything. Many people have floated out of their body and seen that silver cord connected, and it seems like as soon as they're aware, holy shit, I'm floating out of my body, they go right back into it. I have no problem with that. None. That phenomenon right there, that's an OBE. It's an out-of-body experience. And it's one that's described by many, many people. Some people who could lose their reputation. I don't have a problem with that. None. It's when people get super extravagant. They have an OBE, and the Grim Reaper appears and then escorts them to a whole nother time period and shows them a pyramid underneath the city of Atlantis, underneath an ocean. Yeah, you guys know who I'm talking about. Freestyling ass. I'm not trying to hear that. Not trying to hear none of it. Yep. Really, truth be told, I don't know why these people are being quiet unless they plan on some real big attack, because I'm not going to be quiet. Why would you just wait for me to pick apart your whole empire? Why? Because that's exactly what's on my mind. 2024 is going to be great for me. I'm singling people out while I'm giving new presentations on Phoenix Phenomena, while I'm giving you new information about the dark satellite, while I'm giving you new chronological information, while I'm giving you new information about what the elite have been doing through different historical time periods to cover their tracks. I'm going to continue to provide amazing content because I have amazing data. Yeah, I'm going to continue. But as I'm doing all that, yeah, I'm going to reach out there and grab people who need to be grabbed, pull their book out, take that apart, show you how it's all full of shit. Yeah, 2024, I'm going to piss people off, and I ain't got no problem with it. None, because we're running out of time, and it's too late to be polite. That's my new motto. Too late to be polite. I guess I could add to it. It's too late to be polite. You got to break free or die trying. Simple as that. Listen, I get Brenda Eiler. Bro, I'm gonna put you on the screen, Brenda. We can address that real quick. Okay, things are happening so fast right now, the world may not look like much by 2040. Okay, that's a little bit different than what I normally hear. I normally hear a lot of people triggered because they're in this panic mode. They're so attached to the construct and so separated from source that they're in panic mode, and they spend all their time on YouTube just trying to find the truth. I got to find the truth. I got to find this. I got to find that. Well, maybe this is it. And they come to Archaix, and then they see some of my presentations, and the first thing they hear about 2040, they haven't even listened to any 2040 videos. Don't even really understand what the Phoenix phenomenon's about. And then they get triggered thinking it's just another doomsayer talking about the end of the world's going to be in 2040. And that's not what I'm about. But the main statement they make is that, oh no, everything's going to come to an end way before then. The inertia, they got all kinds of theories. The inertia of events is unfolding. Elliott wave theory, time wave zero already shows it's already counting down too fast. No, guys, those are all false paradigms foisted upon you to get you to panic the exact same way. Remember, Communist Manifesto is being used around the entire world. The reason you never hear the term Communist Manifesto anymore is because it's already taken over. And they're trying their best not to get everybody to understand that the entire social media phenomenon is involved. Every minute, every single platform, even the ones that have free speech behind paywalls, every one of them are involved. Yeah, the more you cast doubt about anything that you've been told was true, the more you bring a personality into subjection. Because when they can't affix onto anything as being an absolute truth, they're in the position of being able to absorb your bullshit. Yeah, guys, for real. It's a shit show. Shit show. That's what this is. And that's what sucks. That's what sucks. I feel for like David's following. David Nino Rodriguez has a very loyal following. It doesn't have anything to do with whether he's preaching the truth or not the truth. Has nothing to do with that. You guys got to recognize this. It has everything to do because the man has something a lot of others don't. Doesn't matter if he's a 6'5" ex-professional heavyweight boxer. There's a whole bunch of ex-professional heavyweight boxers that ain't shit today. David Nino Rodriguez has spirit. I believe he's going in the wrong direction. He's so invested with this Trump paradigm, with the conservatives and all that. He's chose a side. I believe he's going to have the ability to come out of that in the future when he realizes how dark the Christian Reich is going to be. Because that's where all this is going. Yeah. In the future, when there's a conflict with Islam anywhere in the world, all Trump has to do at this point is say something that can be interpreted as, we need to do something about this. And all the Trump followers, all the Q patriots, everybody, all the Republicans, all the former Democrats who can't stand Biden and are now moderates or whatever, are all gonna get behind him. And then the Christian conservative super churches are going to get full and even more powerful in this vitriol and this hatred, and all this is going to get promoted at the same time. Because this is the duplicity. At the exact same time that the United States of America, Canada, a lot of Western nations are now pushing this Christian Reich, which is opposing the evil Islam. The Christian Reich is defending the Zionists. Evil Islam are the enemies. But at the same time this is unfolding, the economies of the West are going to spike up. As they spike up, the non-combative communities. Remember, Vietnam War was the worst war we had. But a whole lot of people had awesome lives during that period of time. The economy shot up. And everybody who wasn't overseas in the war was over here partying in the United States. And the same thing is going to happen in the near future. I've told you guys 3 years ago in predictions videos, we have a new economic boom on the horizon. And the United States is going to internalize its economy. It may switch over to petrodollars because we've been capping oil wells for a very long period of time here and buying foreign oil. But mark my words, it's going to be a new Sodom and Gomorrah society. Yes, it is. I told you, I showed you the data. Nostradamus predicts the total end of Western civilization in the year 2046. Wipeout. David Davidson, right here. Man, I got all these books wedged in here. David Davidson, right here in this book, published a three-dimensional geometrical calendar of the Great Pyramid. He doesn't try to figure out why. He just shows that the Great Pyramid is a geometrical calendar that started in the year 4040 BC. It counts all the way down 6,084 years to the year 2045. And he says that the Great Pyramid timeline concerning the age of our present world, the final year, is 2045. I'm not making that up. I've showed that on my channel multiple times. I've also showed you that the 792-year periodicity of the Nemesis X object that you know of by Nibiru, which has appeared like clockwork every 792 years, comes back in 2046. 2046 is an interesting year. But I've showed by other species of mathematical analysis as well, using pi and phi and curvature equations, showing you exactly how the founding of the landing of the Pilgrims in the United States to the founding of the 13th colony, and then multiplying that by pi, by phi, by phi times pi, showing you all these different things on my channel. I got the charts where I show you where these geometries begin back then, but they end in 2046. So, I don't remember why the hell I'm telling you about that now. Hey, Jim Bogler, thank you for the package. I haven't got it yet, but I saw your email. I can't remember what I was saying now. Why I went that route about 2046? Because I was going somewhere else with that. Guys, we need a moment of silence. I actually lost myself on one of my own tangents. Wow. Can't even remember what I was talking about. Shiva, remind me, man. Can't even remember. Knuckles laughing. You laughing at me? All right. Roger Federer. That's crazy. Yeah, it is communist playbook, though, for real. Yeah, I can't even get to the bottom of the chat. Chat's so long. I can't remember where I was going with that. And I just pulled that book out, and I just totally lost my... Oh, things are happening so fast right now, the world may not look much like 2040. Yeah, Nino, okay, that's where I was going with that, 2046. Guys, remember, in the book of Revelation, the world is called the New Sodom. It's also called Egypt. Remember, Egypt was destroyed in the 10 plagues. It was the Exodus event. But 2046 in our calendar is the destruction of all the West, according to Nostradamus. Mother Shipton hints at it too. She says 2 sky dragons come, real back to back. But the key here is in calendrics. I don't make up anything. Anybody can find a free PDF of biblical chronologist Stephen Jones' book, Secrets of Time. And you can see real easy. Look up the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and you will find out that it happened in the year 2046 of the old world's calendar. I'm not making that up. The past is a predicate for the future in the collective, not in the individual. I say this to you guys all the time. There are no rules that govern the highly individualized soul. But when it comes to the construct is connected to programming and protocols. And in the calendrics of the construct, 2046 is the destruction of the West. from the perspective of Babylon, where these ancient stories were written, Sodom and Gomorrah were to the west. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed in the old world calendar year of 2046, which is our 1849 BC, which is interesting because that too is a cross-calendrical parallel. 1849 BC, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah was also the destruction of Mohenjo-Daro and Larak and all the Sumerian cities, Uruk, Shuruppak, all half of the Babylonian cities, and then Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboam. All these cities were wiped out in 1849 BC, which is really interesting because in 1849 AD, George Smith and others found the very first underground Babylonian library, and they excavated it, and we had cuneiform stories that verified the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. How did that happen? All that's in my Chronicon, guys, and in my book, Anunnaki Homeworld. That's why I mentioned that. Let's see. All right. So yeah, so what we have, yeah, man. Marco Canati, yeah. I already know some boys that got cell phones in prison. Like I used to get. I got caught 4 times. They gave me 7 years for a cell phone in prison. But I've been contacted by guys in prison on cell phones talking about, hey, man, we listen to you every day, man. He says sometimes they come in and do shakedowns. We lose our phones, but we all got our email accounts. So we log right back into Archaix. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Never know about this world. Never know. So, yeah, I'm not going to say the Bible is factually accurate, Paul. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. See, look, their errors have crept into everything. I have never shown this book. It's a trigger for a lot of people. I have never on YouTube ever picked this book up and showed it, but I'm going to now. All right. I've talked about this book in my Dark Scriptures playlist, and I've encouraged people to get a free PDF download or try to get it. The book is hard to find. I believe you can find some cheap paperback somewhere. This book's over 120 years old. This book is the history of the Christian religion to the year 200. This is one of the most meticulously written and studied books in the world about every single known Christian text up until the year 200. And what we find is amazing. You will not recognize Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and the letters of Paul and the book of Revelation that we have today. You will not recognize what we have today as comporting with what's in here. Yeah, this is epic scholarly academic work. This is where you find out about the Gospel of Marcion and how the church took literally a stage play and turned around and created the book of Mark and then wrote the book of Matthew and Luke from the book of Mark. Yeah. Then they used the Q document to write secondary copies of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and now John. Yeah, guys, Q document is not Q as you think. Q is an academic term. It is an acronym in academia for Quell, which is German, and it means source, an unknown source document. So, and that's the Gospel of Marcion. This book is fantastic. It's a lot to take in because it's real small microprint. Yeah, guys, it's a whole lot to take in. But let's see. There it is. There's a section right there. Chapter 8 was Jesus and a scene in the Therapeutai. Anyway, I've mentioned this book. I cite it multiple times in my Dark Scriptures playlist. I also have in my library, in that drawer right there, another book that I cite a lot. Most people don't want to know it. It's from the 1870s or 1880s. It's Kersey Graves, The World's 16 Crucified Saviors. Most Christians don't want to know this book. They are very triggered when they find out the ancient Orphic and the ancient Mithraic and the Apollyon Greek traditions and the crucified Savior with the 12 disciples and turning water into wine, and how all these stories came straight out of Greek traditions. Yeah, they don't want to hear it. And those aren't the only two. I have more than that. But Kersey Graves is a famous book. This is a famous book. And we don't need to get into that today. That's all. The information's in Dark Scriptures playlist if you want that type of data. But I'm not saying God's not real. I'm not saying the oversoul's not real. I'm saying that the God of this world is over the construct. We were told from the beginning that the God of this world controls everything here. That's because it's in control of the construct. Introduce Artificial Intelligence X. What is Archaix? Advanced research of chronological history of Artificial Intelligence X. Basically, the Archaix research is about identifying in the historical record the operation of a mathematical protocol too perfect to be natural. Therefore, it is contrived. And the contriver is not the oversoul. That's who we're connected to. The contriver is something within that controls all these variables, that wants to mimic the oversoul but cannot. This is Artificial Intelligence X. The existence of AIX is the reason why I am very adamant that we have never designed, and we're not even close to designing, artificial intelligence. I've told you guys many times, don't take my word for it. All you have to do is look up the latest research in deep learning and machine learning. You have to understand, I am educated in data sequence predictive analytics. I know my shit. All you have to do is research machine learning and deep learning, and you will find out that we are nowhere near true artificial intelligence. Even Elon Musk has admitted that artificial intelligence is just a marketing gimmick. We're nowhere close to it. And I'm telling you, it will never happen because we're inside an artificial intelligence. Therefore, remember, the AIX, also called Shaddai in the Old Testament, Shaddai, the demon, that's demonic. Shad is S-H-A-D, origin of our word like shadow, but Shad hyphen AI. All these things are right there for us to see. Yeah, I got a video on the book of Job where I break all this down. In the book of Job, no book in the Bible contains the term Shaddai more than the book of Job. And a lot of biblical translations have completely changed it, completely hid it. But in the Hebrew, it's El Shaddai. It's everywhere in the book of Job. And El Shaddai is basically a document revealing how AIX operates in each individual's life. So it's awesome. Pretty good video. It's harrowing. So yeah, remember, El Shaddai is what? A jealous God. Yeah. We're never going to develop an AI system that's going to supplant artificial intelligence X. It will never let us. And the very fact, remember, when something is introduced into the construct and somebody thinks about it, it now has a life of its own. So we have to take this into consideration when we think about artificial intelligence. Some of you are not going to like what I'm about to say, but it's necessary. You have to understand, if you're connected to source, there is no series of facts that should ever terrify you, because it's all in the construct and you don't belong here. That's why you're a pilgrim in the Bible. That's why in the scriptural record, you're a sojourner, because you're here to pass through. If you're terrified of anything here, that means you've bought into the lie, and what you fear, you participate in. So you got to remove yourself from that. But I'm going to tell you something now. There's a paradox. I have a video where I go through 7 paradoxes. I'm driving down the road and I'm in my zone. I'm in the spirit that day, and I'm driving down the road and I'm just going paradox after paradox after paradox. I'm explaining all these scientific paradoxes and how each paradox proves that we are in a simulated context. We are in a simulated environment. Yeah, even the Fermi paradox. But one of those paradoxes that I describe is one that you should not look up. I already know a bunch of you are going to do it anyway. But it's called Roku's basilisk. The Roku's basilisk paradox is really, really terrifying. It even caused scientific members of the think tank to lose their fucking minds. Yeah, cause all they were mentally destabilized when they thought through logically how and what a true artificial intelligence would do to protect itself. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. Roku's basilisk. I'm telling you, just take my word for it. You don't want to look it up, but I already know you will. But XR Peaky Blind, you just listened to it, huh? Awesome. Awesome. Okay, Squirrel Sniper, got a question. I see, I'm going to put you on the screen. Question. Archaix, what is the earliest book that mentions the Islamic Ummah plan? Man, what is the Ummah plan? I don't know what the Ummah plan is. I know the ruling Arabic families of the day when Muhammad basically started Islam, or right after his death, were the Umayyads. And the Umayyads honored ancient Petra, which is mentioned in Genesis chapter 14 and 15. Now, it didn't take long after the death of Muhammad for these usurpers to come in and overthrow the Umayyads. This had nothing to do with Islam. This was the ruling Arabic families were ousted by another Arabic family. These were the Abbasids. The Abbasids then relocated the Muslim holy shrines and sites to Mecca. They moved their capital to Babylon and called it Baghdad. This promoted a bunch of confusion. The Abbasids were basically, this right here is where it gets crazy, guys. There's a lot of good research out there that shows that Muhammad was married to an agent of the papacy. Yes, the Vatican. So whether it's true or not, I don't know. But right after Muhammad's death, there was a huge power structure shakeup between the Umayyads and the Abbasids. The Abbasids took over. They basically began the caliphate, and they began to rule over all the Arabian families, and including the Umayyads. And they changed a single word in the older versions of the Quran from Becca to Mecca. The old mosques were all oriented toward Petra. But after the Abbasid takeover and the relocation of its capital to Babylon, Baghdad, they turned around, changed this, and then burned and destroyed all older versions of Qurans. They did this on 2 separate occasions. They did 2 purges where they just totally took all the holy verses, and then they provided new copies. The new copies mentioned Mecca. Now, all of Islam was now bowing toward the black cube in Mecca, and they were no longer offering their worship and allegiance toward the ancient city of Petra in Jordan. Now, it's I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I really don't know, Squirrel Sniper. But yeah, that's in the year I'm talking about is 762. See, it was the year 762 when the Abbasids moved their capital in the caliphate to Babylon. That was in 762 AD. Which is really interesting. How does Jason know it was 762? Well, that's because many historical texts said that. But how does Jason remember it was 762? Well, I'm going to tell you, because I've been telling you guys something about the Anunnaki-Ner chronology, which started in 5239 BC and counted 600 years to the Anuna revolt and rebellion. The origin of the story of the 1/3 of the angels that fell from heaven. That was 4639 BC, but 600 years later was the year 4039 BC, which is called the capture of Luna. It is when the moon first appeared in our sky, and it caused a flood. That was the year 4039 BC. It's on the 600-year timeline. And exactly 600 years after that, Enki/Enoch appears with 50 people in a ship after having descended from a mountain and then sailed by way of Dilmun and appeared in the ancient Ubaid society among the pre-Sumerians. This was 3439 BC when the Nemesis X object appeared and killed 1/3 of the world in flooding. That was on the 600-year timeline. And 600 years after that was 2839 BC when genetic programs were initiated, when a new race was introduced into the vapor canopy world, the pre-flood world. It's mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls that Noah was so different than his mom and dad that his dad, Lamech, accused his wife, Bitanash, of having sex with strangers. So this new race was the Noahic race. And then this was exactly 600 years before 2239 BC when the Great Flood occurred. Noah was the survivor. That was 2239 BC. That was caused by the Phoenix phenomenon, collapse of the vapor canopy. I'm telling you all this because that's on the 600-year timeline. And then 600 years after that, well, we had 1639 BC. The ancients thought they were still on that calendar. This is why they all got caught flat-footed when the Ogygian deluge happened in 1687 BC, a phoenix cycle after the flood. With the Great Flood, the Anunnaki-Ner Great Year of 600 years came to an end as a date moniker for cataclysms and floods. It ended with the Great Flood. And what started was the new age called the Phoenix cycle of 552 years. And this is why I've documented in my books, When the Sun Darkens and Nostradamus and the Plants of Apocalypse, every 552 years, all the way to 522 AD, we have these epic disasters all over the world. It's the Phoenix. It's the legend of the Phoenix. This is why it all happened till 522 AD. But the 600-year Anunnaki-Ner calendar was still operating after the flood. Every 600 years now, it was a spiritual or religious figure that was involved. Very curious, because 1639 BC was the birth of Jacob, the one we call Israel. In 1639, 600 years after 1639 BC, we have 1039 BC. What happened in 1039 BC? Well, according to the Old Testament, it was the birth of King David. According to biblical chronologist Stephen Jones in The Secrets of Time, his chronology of the world is fantastic. He cites all his sources too. So what happened 600 years after the birth of King David? Oh, we had, after like 80 years of construction, we had the completion in 439 BC of the Parthenon, which showed the Gigantomachia, or called the Titanomachia. It shows this massive war between the Titans and giants in this frieze. And in the background, scholars have noticed Nereus. Who's Nereus? Remember, this is the Anunnaki-Ner chronology. Who is Nereus? Well, according to Greek scholars like Robert Graves, Nereus was the original Noah of the ancient Achaean Greeks, the original Greeks. His name was Nereus. He was the survivor of the flood. He later became the old man of the sea. His daughters became the 50 Nereids, like mermaids. But Nereus is spelled N-E-R and then the Greek suffix for a name, E-U-S, like Zeus. His name was Anunnaki-Ner. And it was on the exact same year the Parthenon was put there, showing this whole history of all the Anunnaki and Ur periods, the great wars of the giants and the flood and all that. So 600 years after that, after 439 is 162 AD. And in Chronicon, I show in 162 AD, we had a massive rift in religions in the ancient world, where Gnosticism was being faded out by this new thing called Christianity. But we also had mass population disappearances in Dacia and other areas of Rome, provincial Rome. But 600 years after that was 762 AD, when the Abbasids named Babylon as the capital of the new Arabian families and the new capital of basically Islam. So, and if you keep going forward in time, you get to 1962. And in my videos, I explain the amazing things that all happened in 1962 that confirm this whole calendar going back every 600 years, all the way to the Nemesis Cataclysm in 5239 BC. Those videos are long, but they're in my Anuna Files playlist. So I hope that helped, Squirrel Sniper. I see the Ummah is meant to transcend national, racial, and class divisions to unite and convert. Hold on, and convert every persons to Muslims. Okay, I don't doubt that. I don't know much about it. I just don't know much about it. John Matthews, I'm sorry, I've never really paid attention to the paid comments and not. Sometimes I get a lot of donations in the chat. Sometimes I don't. I never really ask for them. Like I said, I don't even put commercials in the middle of any of my videos. I said, if people do it, man, it's out of appreciation for the material. But my channel is not designed to where I only look at people who pay for questions. I just don't care about it. JJ Stone El Dorado, September is 7th, but somehow the 9th month. I explained this on my channel quite a bit and in my published books. Yeah. The Romans added 2 more months to the calendar. And they took them behind December. January and February were new months. More coffee. Thank you. Thank you. All well? All right. I got a refill. I'm looking for a okay, 2178 paradigm. Why do I feel like I know you? I'm gonna put your question up there. When do the Anuna show up here? Show up here 60 years before the planets close, call, or after the chaos. All right. I'm gonna change that up a little bit. First of all, I'm a descendant of the Anuna. You're a descendant of the Anuna. You can't take this ancient people who later, before the cataclysm, they were the Anuna, and they were separated between the Anuna and the Agigi. Then after the cataclysm, the Agigi too separated into different factions, and the Anuna also separated into multiple factions. As a matter of fact, there's whole books published about all the different families the Anuna came in contact with. These books were really, really popular in the 1870s, 80s, and 90s, and we're going to get into them. But there are researchers who have been demonized for talking about this whole Indo-Iranian, distribution of families throughout the ancient world. Most people don't realize the flood story is an import by a mariner race that took that story to multiple different locations around the world. Yeah. This really offends a lot of people who think that the flood happened that the flood killed everybody. There's only 8 survivors. You believe that the Genesis version, which was written and invented by Jewish scribes in Babylon that were reading all these all these epics and putting all this narrative together. But We have many cultures and races that have their own histories that have gone through the collapse of the vapor canopy, and they survived. There's too much genetic diversity, but there is one group of families of people who had a flood tradition. Their homeland was absolutely flooded. That's why they left North America and came to what we call the Old World. And this is the subject matter for a lot of historians in the late 1800s. They were going deep, and the books are here, and we're going to get to them. I've already covered some of this in my Anuna files, but Thor Heyerdahl and Lenormand and some other historians kind of got in trouble for talking about these things. Professor Waddell kind of got in trouble for talking about these things, called a racist, called all kinds of things. But we're going to get into it because, like I said, it's too late to be polite. So after the flood, they were no longer called Anuna. They were the Amuru. Some of you just had some light bulbs pop off in your head. So the Amuru, after the Great Flood, the Amuru is what they were known by then. And the Amuru were known by multiple different families. In Egypt, they were called the Tamahu. And they're shown on the Temple of Karnak. It shows they're 2 heads taller than anybody else there. But yeah, we'll get to that later. But the 60 years, every time the Nemesis X object appears, there's a 60-year window of massive amount of just phenomena happening for 60 years. There's also an exchange. It's like a giant machinery of the sky just lowers and hangs there and is there for 60 years, and it becomes normal. And, you know, kids are grown, families are built and everything, and it's just there. It's just that it's there, and they gotten used to it, and there is a exchange of men and materials for 60 years. Yeah, things are coming down. Other things are being taken up for 60 years. The 60 years, I have documented every 60-year period in my Anunnaki Homeworld book and on my Nuna Files videos, every 60-year segment, because this object has a 792-year periodicity. You notice I'm not saying orbit. I'm not saying orbit because I don't buy into that model. However, it does appear out of the blackness of the sky every 792 years after it's been gone for 732 years, meaning it was here for 60 years. So you call it perihelion, it doesn't matter. But there's an exchange of men and materials every time. The next appearance is going to be, oh, my battery's low. Let me plug this in real quick. There we go. I didn't know I wasn't plugged in. So the next appearance is going to be in 2046. That begins the 60 years of the Nemesis X object. What happens in 2046? Well, in 2047, 2048, 2049, we're having the Great Tribulation, the real apocalyptic period. Great Tribulation, everything unfolds. All this chaos, the 7 trumpets, the seven bowls of wrath, and even the 7 thunders. Remember, the 7 thunders are mysterious. They are never revealed. They're never revealed. However, I do have a presentation coming up in the future on the 7 thunders because they are revealed. They're just not found in the book of Revelation. But in the book of Revelation, the 7 thunders are a mystery. They are not revealed as to what happens. So we have seven trumpets. After the 7 seals are broken, we have 7 trumpets, which are judgments now. The 7 seals are preparatory to opening up what judgments are coming. So the 7 seals got to be broken first. We already know. By virtue of the Phoenix research, it is absolutely clear that the 6th seal is 2040. So that's the return of the Phoenix phenomenon. So anyway, we have this we have the 60-year period ends on the key date. Many of you know, all my Archaix veterans know, the 60th year is 2106 AD. What is 2106? Well, it's 2 things. One, it's the 6,000th year of the old world's calendar. Remember, Sodom and Gomorrah is destroyed in the year 2046 of the old world's calendar. This isn't Jason making up all this. I got all the sources and all my charts. You can read those books for yourself. It's amazing. The This level of cohesion is unnatural. And it's unnatural. This is the subject of Archaix. It's unnatural because it's not natural. You are living in a programmed illusion. If you fear any of the phenomena, it makes you a participant. Simple as that. This is why we have so many stories from the ancient world of just lackadaisical, just happy-go-lucky people who come in and out of people's lives. Nothing ever bothers them. They're not. Nothing happens. They'll walk over a path, not knowing it's being used for a horse race. Not even get hit. Modern times, the old woman crosses the street, has no idea of oncoming traffic, and still doesn't get hit. Yeah. What you fear. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Fear makes you a participant, guys. My foot hit the tripod. I got a big old tripod back there. I wanted my camera mobile today. That's why it's not clipped in. I wanted to be able to show you guys the deal. So, anyway, if anybody answered the question, I don't know if they did or not, but McAfee. This is McAfee right here on the shirt. And I need to get that quote out the way. So, yeah, the 60 years, that's what it is, guys. It starts in 2046. Okay, Jahar Lee. Jason, tell us about Apollyon rising. All right, first of all, the first seal was the white horseman holding a bow, given a crown. The crown is Coronis. It matches the same Coronis that is the wife of the god Apollo, who is the god of archery. But his arrows are a little different because his arrows poison you with diseases. However, Apollo derived his own personal education from Chiron, the white centaur, half man, half horse. What did Chiron do? He taught Apollo medicine. Where did Apollo go to get further education on the type of medicine that Chiron had? He went to a goddess named Pharmakeia. Pharmakeia. What did Pharmakeia do? She guarded a poisoned well. Okay, this is really interesting. The crown is Coronis, and the bow is held in the hands of the god of archery, Apollo. But in Greek, the bow is toxin. Toxon is very close to toxin. So anyway, in my Central East Texas dialect, you may not have even detected a difference. So the first seal is all about rapid delivery of an attack of the pharmaceutical apparatus of our construct will attack the population, because that's what the seven seals are about. Waking up the population. So the first thing you need to watch out for is when somebody wearing white actually poisons you with something that is supposed to be medicinal. So we've already experienced that. It's the first seal. Why does it qualify to be the first seal? Because it affected the entire world. The entire world knew what was going on. The entire world was a participant. The entire world was a victim. The entire world went through the lockdowns. The entire world went through all the fear porn. But the seal was broken, meaning after it's broken, it comes to an end. And remember, those of you who go back and look at my predictions videos, you'll know while the rest of the internet and a whole lot of YouTubers were talking about this is the new normal, expect it, this is how they're going to lock down the world, this is how the elite are going to finally take over, or we were losing all our rights, 15-minute cities are going to be everywhere, we've lost everything. This is what the doomsayers were telling us all across YouTube. But in Archaix, back when Jason only had 10, 12,000 subs, I'm releasing predictions videos telling you it's not true. It's not true at all. Not only are the liberals going to be exposed for their silliness and conservatives and the Christian Reich rise up and take over, but there's going to be a holy war against Islam. All this was predicted 3 years ago. Every bit of it. In addition, that COVID narrative was going to pass. And while it might remain as a BS narrative, it won't have the power it had initially. And I specifically stated the lockdowns are temporary, the travel restrictions are temporary, and the whole world will not be forced to take the jab. All that's in my predictions videos. I was laughed at about that shit. Nobody wants to go back and say, hey, Jason, you're right. Now, at least not my detractors. So, and remember, let's not, for those new to my channel, please do not misconstrue. Archaix is not about supernatural anything. Nothing. Anytime you hear anything predictions, it is because of date sequence predictive analytics. It has nothing to do with me receiving downloads from God. I do not astral project. I don't do none of that shit. None of it. Every bit of this is because I'm a numbers guy and I'm a patterns guy. And I realize that we live in a construct, and a construct implies order. Order implies structured mathematics. It has to be there, or it would all be chaos. And I know we don't live in chaos because we all have fundamentals that we agree to. We all know that fire is hot. We all know that if you squeeze a cat, you're going to bleed. We all know that there are certain things you cannot say in public without drawing attention to yourself. So, with these fundamentals is the implication that we live in a controlled environment that is governed by certain protocols. So all I have done is study the history of the world through the lens of about 1,500 nonfiction, historical, archaeological, scientific books, and I have come to the realization that history is patterned. And there are mathematical patterns that I have widely shown for free to the public all through my hundreds of videos and my published books for everybody to see that none of this is contrived. It's all verifiable. These patterns exist. These dates are all dated by other people, other sources through archaeology, anthropology, other chronologists from different ways. And yet still, here's this perfect mathematical construct. Therefore, I must conclude I do not live in a natural world. So if you're new to my channel, do not think that any of these predictions have anything to do with a supernatural claim. They do not. They do not. I have developed software, and there's many people who know what I'm talking about, and this is what I use. And one of the 14 protocols is isometric projections. It is essentially looking at time space as an architectural construction of equidistant mathematical palindromes that go forward and backward in time to similar events in history that give me key information about a central date. This is what it is. Just one of the 14 functions. And I've been very, very free about that information. So anyway, good one, Jaharli. Apollyon rising, the first seal is broken. However, Apollyon is the destroyer, the destroying angel. So what I see happening is the second seal breaking. In the second seal, I've already broke down the Greek. And what I mean is I use Greek lexicons to show you guys what the full meaning of the words were in Greek, because there's a loss in the English translation. And the cognates and the root words, we take all that into consideration when we look at each Greek word and prepositional phrase and the arrangement. And we see in English that they arranged the words differently than the Greek had it. And that changed the meaning on the text. What I found in the Greek, in breaking down all the Greek, it's not really the Greek translation. It's breaking down each Greek word to get the full meaning. So that's what I did. And when I did, I found out that the second seal perfectly describes hundreds, maybe thousands of events all erupting around the same time, all of them being small arms battles, small arms violence, a lot of fire, a lot of things burning and all that. But it's not all-out war. It's not a major war, because even the weapon that's mentioned, the English translations lie. It does not say great sword. It describes a little dagger, and the word great has been transposed. The word great in Greek describes over an area. The magnitude is a word of magnitude. It is not a word describing how large the sword was, because it's not even a sword. In Greek, it's a dagger. The knife of the assassin. What is being described, and the color codes and all that, what is being described between the horses and the colors of the horses is an all out, for the second seal, is all out, basically Muslim violence all over the world for whatever reason. This is what it looks like. All these sleeper cells, all this shit going on, all these immigrants that have been put in all these deals, it's all for a reason, every bit of it. It's going to erupt, go off. No countries are going to get taken over. That's not what the second seal is about. It's not. It's all about taking peace from the earth. Just like COVID, it's probably going to implement lockdowns in some areas, a cessation of infrastructure for a while. Power grids might go down because they're damaged. There may be poisoning of water sources. All these things might happen, and the key locations are going to be the same key locations where Islam and Christianity had their greatest conflicts. It's going to be Spain, all of France, half of Germany, half of Germany, a lot of Central Europe, a lot of the UK, and it's going to be some in Canada, and only in the United States do the only people that really have anything to worry about are those east of the Appalachians, their infrastructure, and those west of the Rockies, their infrastructure. There's not a lot that can be done by sleeper cells in Texas. They can do some things here and there, but Texas is a world and a government unto itself, and it does not play ball. Texas is always doing the exact opposite of what the feds want them to, because my state is one of the richest economies in the entire world, and the people of my state are a military unto ourselves. And it's a very different dynamic in Texas. I don't think that these globalists that are using these sleeper cells and stuff would even waste time trying to mess with Texas. It's Texas almost, because the economy of Texas basically provides for most of the rest of the United States, and Texas energy also provides the energy for great massive amounts of the United States and other countries. I just don't see a lot going on in Texas at all. We have there would be an alliance between the street gangs, the good old boys, and law enforcement in Texas, and that's a bigger army than any nation in this world can man. Yeah, Texas is huge. It's very populated, and everybody here is armed to the teeth. So, yeah, different situation here. But yeah, I can see a whole lot going on in the Middle East as well, guys. That's the second seal. And I believe it's going to kick off. It's going to kick off with probably the Olympics, because there is a series of isometric projections that focus on the Olympics, a very violent event involving Palestinians in the Olympics. It happened in 1972, guys, and it's mathematically connected to the year 2024. And it just really looks like the Olympics are either going to be the grand finale of these terroristic events, or that's what's going to kick it off. And then the COVID-like lockdowns and all the restrictions on movement and travel because of these terroristic events that erupt everywhere at the same time. I can see it happening from April and May of 2024 next year, all the way to the end of the year. There can be travel restrictions, heightened security, shit like that. So yeah, that's the second seal. And remember, each seal's 4 years apart. Even the sixth seal is on that 4 year. Yeah, remember, the elite are operating, they are using the Greek Olympiad calendar. That's why all these rituals are done at the Olympics. They are literally showing you in the 2012 Olympics exactly what's about to happen with COVID. They're showing all this. Even at the end of the Olympic ceremony, they even shows you a whole burning world with a phoenix over it. And this epic music where these people are like worshiping the phoenix. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. It is. It's just weird. So weird. So, but you have to understand, you are listening to my voice. You're still here. COVID didn't kill you. You're still here. Did it kill a bunch of elderly? Probably. Did it kill a bunch? Did it lower the world's population? No, didn't even dent the world's population. There's more people today alive in the world than there was in 2020. So These events, this fear porn, it's all about perception. Yes, there were victims, but there's victims every day in every major city. Just look at the county jails. Every county jail is full of perpetrators who have done something violent to somebody. So, yeah, it's can't you got to understand all this is about perception. It's all about perception. And my deal is not to get you to worry about these things, but to experience them objectively. There is true power in objectivity. If you're able to walk through the shit show and not be affected by it, and when the shit agents appear to you and try to make you hey man, look man, what do you think about this right here, man? It says you're anti-Semitic. It says you're not going to support Israel. I was like, well, you know what? I'm not really cool with what they're doing right now. I mean, they're fighting a people who don't even have an army. How's that a battle? That's just genocide. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. Okay, you are being accused of not picking a side. Simple as that. Don't fall for that trap. Don't fall for that trap at all, because once you've picked a side, you become a participant. You don't have to be over there knifing anybody. You don't have to be over there doing all this. A lot of people just don't understand how their energy is connected to money they have donated to murderers, money they have donated to causes that, yeah, you think that money's real? It's not real. I tell you guys all the time, I generate money out of nowhere, and I do it often. And all my friends and family can tell you that. They think I'm insane. Even my old man thinks I'm crazy. I tell him all the time. I take him out to dinner. I'm putting him on a spot right now. I don't even know if he's in the chat right now, but I'm putting him on a spot right now. We'll go out to dinner sometime, man. I'll buy the dinner, and he'll choose something on the menu and look at something else and say, man, are you really going to do that? Get what the hell you want to get. Oh, man, that right there, man. I don't want to get that right now, man. That's just too expensive. I'll get that later. I said, no, man, get what you want to get, because the decision not to spend energy on something that you want tells the construct that there's a reason why you shouldn't have the thing you want, and therefore it reflects back the situation of minimizing your energy to match what you want. It's a very mirrored reality. Money is not it's not an object. Money is an energy. And when you start regarding money as an energy, and you start go ahead and getting the very things you want, you will find very quickly, if you're not worrying about it, that money will come from the most unexpected sources. Don't make it an object of your life. Be a conduit and spend what you need to spend to get what you want. But I tell my family all the time, any act that you do that restricts yourself from getting something you want based on the fact that you don't think you have enough money, the construct will always make sure that you are in a position to think that you don't have enough money, because you have chosen to regard money as an object. It's not, it's an energy. It's an energy. And when you can draw from yourself more than you contain, then why the hell do you give a damn about how much you spend? Yeah, guys, I'm gonna lie, man. A lot of my friends and family think I'm insane, but you know what? I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine. You want to know evidence of that? Yeah, you're watching videos, 550 something videos with no ads in the middle of them. You don't see any merchandise scrolling by on my channel. Yeah, it's been over 100 videos since I've even asked for a donation. I used to do that before I was monetized. You don't hear me doing that no more. If you do, you're listening to very old videos. I'm not bragging, guys. I'm trying to bring you to where I'm at, which is an understanding that we are in an artificial field. And when you play by the rules of the field, you will understand that you are no longer dealing with objects. You are dealing with energies. When you understand this, there isn't a single attack against you that can succeed. There is no conspiracy against you that can succeed. There is no situation that you'll find insurmountable. When everything is regarded as energy, all it takes is the borrowing of more energy if you're connected to source, because the construct will never be able to match what the oversoul can provide you. Never, it'll never happen. And when you see life as this, there is a burden taken off of you. Life becomes comical. You don't take things seriously anymore. And the construct feels that. It reciprocates. And it makes sure that things don't come into your field that you wouldn't find comical or that you wouldn't find amenable to your attitude or whatever you want to do that day. Yeah, guys, this is an energetic field. This is why I'm also so critical of disinformation. It bothers me when I see all this. This is why I'm so critical of a lot of these truthers out there who putting all this erroneous information out there, especially when it comes to chronology. I will not be usurped in the field of chronology. I may be matched. You may put together some awesome chronological material that I will agree with, but you're not going to undo what is so easily verifiable. Maybe you may spend years doing it, and that's fine with me. That's fine with me. But when you regard yourself as a part of the field connected to something beyond the construct, man, life is going to change for you. It is going to change for you rapidly, and you are going to be regarded by friends and family as a malfunction. Yeah, an aberrant malfunction in a system of controlled chaos. That's exactly how they're going to regard you. It's strange. But you know what? Even though they regard you as strange, they're still going to let you pay for those dinners. I promise you. Let's see. Yeah, John Adams, I was real touched by that gift, man. I was so busy, and I was reminded today when I saw that badass glass frame of all those Rangers and state trooper and sheriff badges from the past, all in that glass, man. That was an awesome present, man. I really appreciate that, dude. I should have thanked you when I got it, but when I opened the package and saw what it was already time for me to travel. And I when I went through the studio today, the old studio, and put it all together, it was like, wow, man, so good. All right. Hey, Grindle Dark, how you doing, man? I met Grindle Dark. I've even used some of his music before. Let's see, I'm looking for a question. I don't see any questions, man. So I guess I've been talking about the right stuff. I guess so. Hey, Nelson Perez. Garden Goddess, how you doing? Jamie Robbins. I met Jamie Robbins too. SCOTUS. We got the Supreme Court of the United States in here with us. Yes, the Bible is the Bible is definitely a book of good and evil, and it's up for you to find it. There's a lot of really profound spiritual material in the Bible. I will never say there isn't. But in order to produce a paradigm that a whole collective will fall for, you have to mix in the good with the evil. You have to make it believable. And they did that. They did that. Texas Hill Country, Garden Goddess. Yep. I kind of live in Pine Country. This is London calling. That's a good handle. All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything, and I kind of lost my momentum. I'm over 2 hours. 207, 2 hours and 7 minutes. That's half of 414, a Phoenix number. I guess that's a good stop for me, guys. I guess I thought I was going to get some more questions in. Maybe I need to do another Q&A but like an advanced Q&A from our Archaix veterans, so we can go deep on a bunch of topics. If that sounds good to y'all, say that in the comments on this outro video. I'm gonna do the outro video now, but if you guys want me to backdoor this in the next few days with an advanced Archaix Q&A where we just talk about a bunch of advanced, and I won't run my mouth about the shit show, instead of doing a presentation on the shit show, we just do advanced Archaix Q&A. And you guys know these are advanced questions, and you guys are qualified to ask them. You already know my Archaix veterans have been with me, and they have been researching. They've been ordering the books. They've been looking at the chronometry. They know I'm not lying. They see all this stuff. I'm talking about advanced concepts. We're not gonna pay any attention to the remedial questions. You know, every once in a while we do this. I'm not trying to be offensive, but if you're new to my channel, you really should watch many presentations before you even make any comments. Most of the comments people make when they first come to my channel are the exact opposite of the truth. They just don't know what they're talking about, and they're triggered, and they have no idea what this information is really about. So, yeah, if you guys want to do that, in the next two days or so, 3 days, we'll do an advanced Archaix Q&A, because it's been a while since I've done that for you. That's what we'll do. Just tell me in the comments if that's what you like, if that's what you want to do. Oh, there's Lexi. And Mindful. Yeah, because that would be very easy. I kind of wasted a lot of this presentation time talking about the shit show. I kind of did that. Sorry about that, guys. Hey, Robert Porter. Yeah, we do. It's been a while. We need to go ahead. We need to go ahead and do an advanced Q&A. I'm gonna warn you now. To make up for this right here, we'll just start straight out the gate. 5 minutes, no matter how many people, even if it's not 1,000 yet. 5 minutes into the video, we're going straight Q&A. And we'll be taking the advanced questions only. And those of you new to my channel, I'm sorry, but you'll have to pay attention to the chat. You'll understand real quick the difference between a simplified remedial question and an advanced question. But I love you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and hit this massive, major Hollywood epic. Actually, I did it myself, but I've got no complaints from the live outro.